Right, good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me or see my slides on the screen? If you can you please use a chat window to chat with just say yes or no. We do have quite a big 250 people signed up. I don't expect all of them to show up, but I just want to make sure that everybody is able to hear me properly. We will start in about less than 4 minutes. So before that, let's make sure everything is working fine. Now, I have approximately 20 people right now. It's increasing. It's a good thing. So good morning, everyone. Who's joining us from where? Let's I guess get to know each other. I'm from Canada right now, at least this week. All right, Terry, Alabama. Anyone else want to share where their location, where they are coming joining us from today? All right, so I think we're almost there. So I think we can go ahead and get started. Just one more last check to make sure that you guys can hear me and see my slide. Right now, you should be able to see the slide moving and back and forth. So if you could simply, let me know on yes or no on the chat that whether you are able to see that. So. Well, welcome aboard, everyone. My name is Faisal Khan. I will be hosting this event for you for the next an hour or so. And this is going to be about information, understanding about the UCCE call flow. Now, for those who are working with UCCE or those who are planning to work with UCCE, you guys probably know that one of the most difficult challenge or topic within UCCE is actually being able to understand the call flow. Now I'm going to do my level best to give you kind of an idea how the call flow works and how each steps of the call flow refers to the configuration. So this video is being recorded for you guys, and once the event is actually ended, you should receive an email directly from WebEx about the location to download the video for you. This is pure information, a training session. I'm not here selling anything, and I don't want you to be under obligation or pressure that you have to buy anything from me. Just pure information. Hopefully you like it. And if you have any feedback, please email me at my email address. I'll share with you later at the end of the particular sessions. Now, before we start, just to let you know, some of you guys, how many of you guys know Voice Bootcamp? Some of you guys probably know me. For some of you guys are new. Some of you guys have probably dealt with you before. Either you have purchased my book or training. Either way, let me see if I can draw. Yeah, let me see if I can block this beeping part. Not sure how do we do that. Okay. Yeah, this I think this is something that I set up during the initial scheduling, and now I don't know how to disable that. Anybody has any idea how to disable that? Sometimes you can call yourself an expert in certain area, but then you know so much less another area. I don't, to be honest with you, I don't know how to manage panel. Let me see. Here's a sequence of the panel. No. It is a kind of annoying, isn't it? All right. Edit preference. All right. So let me start the sharing. Let me try that. Edit preference. All right. So participant join. Yeah, I don't think I can change. Can I change it while it is running? Because it's grayed out. So I don't. Okay, let me stop this. Yeah, I'm just trying to do exactly that. Stop sharing first. Okay, so there we go. Stop sharing. Mute. Do you guys still see the slide right now? All right. Just the background. Okay, so you should not see the slide. So that means I did stop sharing. Unfortunately, still making that annoying noise. So okay, mute on entry, change role, privileges, holding option, start. Okay, communication when allowed. Yeah, I mean, it is grayed out. I don't think it's letting me change the settings. Select the event which you want to play, 100% play the sounds. Sorry, it says behind me. Sorry, Terry, did you say it is behind you? I mean, okay, full screen, show panel video. Okay, let me disable my audio video for a second. That is. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I don't think it's not allowing me to do that. So okay, let me try one more try. Somebody give me an instruction. You can turn off the people audio conference settings. Okay, so let's go and disable my audio conferencing. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to apologize for this incident. Yeah, somehow you guys have to get deal with this because the meeting has been started. I can't seems to disable the feature right now. Once again, I do apologize for that. So let's get started. Right. Going to So now you should be able to see the slide and my video right now. Here I am. It is a live. It is Friday, February what? 29th. It's in the 28th. So UCCE call flow. Of course, it is right now based on the slide has been designed based on 11.5, but the lab that I'm going to show you is 12.5, but it really does not much different when it comes to call flow. For those who, so let's get started with that. My name is Faisal Khan. I am the owner of Voice Bootcamp, collaboration instructor, and also have been training in Cisco for last 18 years. And this is right now one of the things that I do a lot is UCCE training globally. I started with CCIE's training before back in 2004, and we've been training all over the world. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I was actually in Ghana, Africa, where we are delivering the UCCE training. So now we specialize mostly in contact center and UCCE stuff, collaboration, including UCCE, UCCS, CVP, all those stuff. So I find UCCE to be very fascinating and very interesting topic for me. Although I have done CCIE back in the past, I find it myself that UCCE is one of the most difficult topic to understand. But in my personal opinion, I think UCCE is one of the easiest one to configure. This is again based on the fact that I've been doing this for so long. But you'll see that once you understand the call flow, everything else in UCCE becomes quite easy. All right. So it's just that there's too many steps to do to achieve certain things. Makes it a little bit difficult. Assume that it looks difficult, but it's not really that difficult. But either that or I might be a very good instructor. I don't know. A lot of my students never complained over so far. So let's get started. So what we're going to talk about today is the interaction from the moment customer dials a phone number. So I'm going to show you two call flow. One where the call is coming through call manager into CVP, into UCCE. And then second call flow, I will show you how the call goes to CVP first. And from CVP, the call comes to UCCE. I will show you a live demo, and I will then try to show the correlation between this as the call coming in, where it is matching the configuration window of that. Okay. So again, before moving on to slide, you guys are able to hear me and see the slide so far. No complaints. So that so far looks good. In UCCE, a call flow is controlled by scripts. That UCCE has two types of scripts. You got the routing script, and then you got the admin script. The routing script is responsible for executed on demand based on the call that comes in and matching the DN number. So what is a routing script? It's basically a call flow that follows certain steps or business logic based on your company's policy. Like how does the company want to handle the call? A call comes in, press this, press that, announce this, stuff like that. Now remember, call flow is not something that you and I as technical guys to decide. It is decided by the business team. It could be the customer support team, could be the business development team, could be whoever is responsible for companies' business interaction with the customers. It is not your job and my job to say, hey, you know what, this is what the call flow should be. Our job is to take that information, the flow chart, and convert it into in technical terms of it, or technical flow. So a call is script, which is basically a flow chart that follows a business logic, which determines how the calls to be processed and developed by business team. Usually the purpose of the call flow is to allow the customer to connect to appropriate resources. Now that resource could be an agent, the resource could be a technical support team, could be a sales team, anything. Now, a lot of people assume that customer UCCE perspective, customer are not necessarily our users calling from outside. A customer could be another department calling internal help desk. That also can be for a service by UCCE solution. So from a customer perspective, from user UCCE perspective, a customer is who's initiating the call. Now, that could be an internal employee registered to the call manager cluster, or it could be an external user calling from outside for help desk support. So regardless of that, their main purpose is to connect to a resource. At the end of the day, I want to talk to someone for some information. That is controlled through this flow chart. So business will capture the requirement, developed a flow chart. They will then give it to us, and our job is to convert it to technical requirement. So what we're going to do, this is an example of a business flow chart for a company that we work in Canada called Petco, is a pet shop. And in Canada, what we have is that we have a multilingual where we have two official language. And if you're a certain type of company, what happens is you have to force certain type of company, not all though, by the way, you have to force certain company to offer both language, English and French. So the business team say, you know what, here's the policy, here's the requirement that if the call comes from Quebec province, which is our one of the province that we have in Eastern Ontario, in Eastern Canada. If the call comes from that particular area, we want the French language to be as a default. And then for anywhere else the call comes in, we want the English to be default. But while I call in and I hear the French, it should give me an option to change the script to English. Or if I am listening to English, it should give me an option to change the language to French. This is the policy. Again, I don't get to dictate that. But they told me to do that. And our job is to now take these steps, convert it into a technical flowchart. I'm not going to go through this script, just to show you an idea. And our job is to take that and convert it into a technical flowchart. Now, this is what we do. This is what is our responsibility. And I'm going to show you how, as we go through each steps, where in the configuration it maps to. Now, I have trained many people around the globe. I have seen people who are extremely expert. I have seen people who are working on this platform that does not have enough knowledge in the platform. So it's important for you guys to understand the flow with the configuration so that you know where to go and troubleshoot or what to look at. And again, that all depends on how much time you put in, how much training you focus on, and how much time you get to play with the system. So let's go through a call flow. Imagine a customer is calling in. And what's going to happen is a call will coming in either via SIP trunk, T1, and E1, depending on what type of environment you're in. That call could either come to a voice gateway, such as right here, 4300 series switches, or sorry, routers, or 2900 series routers, whatever, or it could be a cube, Cisco unified border element. Then that call will hit the CVP. Now, here's the thing. CVP has multiple subsystems, and one of the subsystems is called SIP service, or call server. So when that call coming in, because this step number 2 is responsible for sending SIP traffic, it hits the SIP subsystem within CVP. Now, it depends on how you configure the CVP. If that CVP is configured to be working as a standalone versus comprehensive model, the call will go depending on how the call arrives. So if the call arrives as a SIP service, the call goes to immediately from SIP subsystem to ICM subsystem. At that moment, the call is handed over to PG, or peripheral gateway. Now, your PG is actually registered to the call manager. Sorry, my apology. A PG is registered to the CVP, and it is registered to the call service. And when the call comes into step number 2 into the SIP service, the call will be immediately sent to the PG because that is considered to be new call. Now, there's 2 types of calls that can come in from the gateway. Keep that in mind. Let me show you. From this gateway, I could receive either SIP call or I could receive an HTTP call, okay? Depending on how it is deployed. If it is a SIP call, the call will go to the SIP service. But if it's an HTTP call, the call will go to IVR services. Now, we're not going to focus on the HTTP right now. We're only going to focus on the SIP. So SIP call comes in, the call goes to PG, and the PG immediately sends the call to UCCE. And UCCE then will then send the calls to the ICM. Now, let me go back to your, let me show you the configuration of it at the same time. So this is my UCCE system, and in my Roger AW, I should be able to see this right now. This is my AW server. So the routers, which is responsible for receiving the call, will immediately execute this script that I have right here. And what this script is going to do is going to map to this DN number that I dialed, 2000. Okay, so that's the number my customer is going to call. And step number 5, step number 4, the call came in with the number 2000 as my dial number. The ICM or UCCE will then execute the script because the number 2000 is mapped to that script. Okay, and when that happens, let me close this. The script will get executed, and certain variables will be set. The purpose of those variables that you see, it depends on the script to script. To be honest with you, they may not necessarily follow exactly what I have, but it really depends on the script to script. So as the call coming in, it's going to execute that script, and it's going to follow the flow, set the variables, send the calls to VRU, whatnot. But we'll come to the configuration part a little bit later. So let's go back to the slide. So right now, the UCCE received the call, is executed, and is going to do something. So that 2 conditions the UCCE will react. First condition is, do I have agent available? Second condition is, am I supposed to connect to an agent, or am I supposed to send the calls to IVR treatment? It all depends on your company policy. Remember the business logic? What does some company do? When you dial their phone number, what happened? You right away hear welcome message, right? So you say, welcome to Voice Bootcamp, press 1 for sales, 2 for support. But there are companies where if you dial the help desk number, it doesn't even announce any welcome message. It just simply connects the call to an available agent. So depending on how your IVR is set up, it will take that action. Now, if I say that send the calls directly to an agent, don't worry about a welcome message, don't worry about any sort of like a IVR treatment, just simply try to connect to an agent. If agent is not available, only then connects the call to IVR. So depending on what type of situation, the response will be different. Now, I'm going to keep it very simple. Let's assume that we are trying to connect to an agent, but agent is not available. Or sorry, first scenario, we're going to talk about agent is available. Second scenario, we're going to talk about where agent is not available. So right now, call is supposed to come in and try to connect to an agent, and agent Faisal Khan is available. So what's going to happen? ICM is going to return extension of the agent, which is my extension. So let's assume that my extension is 3001. So step number 5 right here, 3001 will be returned back to the PG. So this step number 5 actually contains something called label. What is a label? Just directory number. It's just a bunch of numbers, okay? It could be a valid DN. It could be a bunch of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sequence of number. It's just number of digit. Okay? It's going to send that number back to the PG as a form of label. Okay? Now, PG is going to send that traffic back to the CVP because that's where the call came from. Step number 6, PG is sending the call back to the CVP through that ICM process. Remember, CVP has call server, right? In a call server, you have SIP service, you have IVR service, and you have ICM services. So this PG sends the instruction to the ICM service. ICM service send it back to the SIP, and the SIP will then send it back to the voice gateway, which could be Cube, T1, E1 gateway. And then voice gateway will contact the call manager. Call manager will acknowledge that, and somehow it will ring the agent phone 3001. At that moment, my phone is ringing. I pick up the handset. I will establish an RTP session directly to the gateway. Okay, that's when I'm going to hear the message from the customer. Now, one thing you keep in mind, once I pick up the handset, okay, once I pick up the handset, I said, hello, welcome to Voice Bootcamp. What's going to happen is call manager is going to send a signal to the ICM, actually not directly that way. Call manager is going to send a signal to the PG, to the ICM, letting the ICM know, hey, Faisal is busy, do not send any calls. And that message happens over protocol called JTAPI. Okay, so call manager is the one, it's not the UCCE, it's the call manager is the one that is telling UCCE or ICM that when Faisal becomes available and when Faisal is busy. Okay? Is people sometimes have this other understanding other way around. Call manager is responsible for that. I apologize, I keep saying call manager because I come from Windows call manager version 2.48, very old goose. You can see all the white here coming out. Is actually called CUCM now. So CUCM basically let the UCCE know that the Faisal is now busy. Please do not send him any more call until further notice. And when I hang up the call, meaning that I'm done with the customer, okay, what's going to happen is UCCM again is going to send a signal, JTAPI signal, to the UCC saying, okay, Faisal's phone is now available. Extension 3001 is now available for further call. So that is the reaction of a call flow when CVP is not involved. So far good, you guys are able to hear me, see the slide, see the interactions, see my hands moving, just making sure you guys still with me. All right. Well, we got 100, almost close to 100 people, so that's not bad. Great, great. All right, so now next step we're going to look at when, okay, Faisal is no longer available and the CVP has to get involved. So this time I'm going to add an additional product, gateway in there is called the proxy server. So what's going to happen is from the cube, the call comes to SIP proxy. And SIP proxy will send the calls to CVP. Now, why do we use SIP proxy? There are breathing noise. I'm going to let me know if there is any. Yeah, sorry about Daniel. I try to disable the notification. In the future, I will make sure that that notification is permanently disabled. Is the noise part okay now? So again, there's unfortunately there's nothing I can do. Some of you guys will have noise, some of you guys will not. It's just the nature of the online training. Quality cannot be guaranteed all the time unless you're sitting in the physical in front of me. All right, so as I was saying, the purpose of SIP sometimes SIP proxy is to provide high availability, load balancing, and distribution, stuff like that. But technically, you really don't have to use SIP proxy. You could just simply bring the call directly from the voice gateway or queue into the CVP. But some high company would prefer to go to SIP proxy for further analyzing of the call. But we'll just assume that it's there. Now, the call comes in, because it's still a SIP, keep in mind, it's going to go to what? SIP service. Now, call goes to PG. PG sends the call to ICM, step number 5. Here's the thing now. At this stage, ICM realized Faisal is no agent available. So what's going to do? Your script is going to dictate, if agent is not available, you should queue the call. Okay? So when the select statement comes in, an agent is not available, the ICM is going to establish a connection. Now, this is where ICM goes back and forth with CVP to establish a connection to the CVP server as well as VVB, Visual Voice Browser. Now, what ICM is going to do is going to return in step number 6, called VRU label. So let me go back to the lab to show you where I am in the configuration at that moment. So right now, this select statement that you see right here, what the select statement is saying, that select an agent from the skills group called sales. But agent is not available. So it will, if the agent is not available, the select statement will not be successful because it couldn't select. So what's going to happen is going to go to queue the call, the skills group. So when it hits the queue to call, you're going to have to establish a VRU session with your CVP or IVR platform. Now, I have already established that a little bit in advance right here, called send to VRU, because I was supposed to say welcome to voice bootcamp at that moment. But if you can also use send to VRU at that stage as well. So what does send to VRU really does? And a lot of time people may not understand that. What this send to VRU is doing, okay? So this is the editing of the script. So what the send to VRU is going to do at this moment is going to contact the CVP. But how does UCCE actually contact CVP? Okay. So in our case, because the call is coming in directly from the call manager, the first scenario, CVP, we're going to go to configuration manager, and we're going to look at something called network VRU script. Network VRU Explorer. And network VRU Explorer, we have configured a type 10 VRU that includes CVP. So here is a number you can see right there called 49999, 5-digit number. Now again, it could be 10-digit, it could be 5-digit, it could be 7-digit, doesn't matter. The matter is that you understand that that is a number I'm going to dial to reach or connect with my IVR platform. So what's going to happen is at this stage, 4999 is going to be returned as a label. So step number 6, contains the label 49999, but it also contains 2 extra digit, or maybe 2 or more extra digit. Actually, it could be 1 or more extra digit. And those extra digit is called correlation ID. Okay? Every call that comes into UCCE contains extra digit of a sequence number or reference number, whatever you want to call it. We call it a correlation ID. And UCCE use that correlation ID to identify your call or give you a kind of like a marking in that whole system. So 4999 with XX will be returned. The question is, where does it get returned to? It gets returned to the routing client where the call came from. If the call came from you, call manager, then the call will go back to call manager, even though the ultimate destination is your CVP. But if the call came from CVP, in the case of our slide, then the call will hit back to CVP. You see, in either case, the call will end up being in CVP. Whether the call goes directly back to CVP or goes to call manager and via the SIP trunk from the call manager goes to CVP. So either way, the call will end up being in CVP server. So let me go and log into the CVP and show you where the call goes, end up being there. So right now, this is my UCCE, and I'm going to log in to my call manager first. So let's assume the call came from call manager. So 4999 is actually a route pattern in my call manager. 4999 route pattern. So ICM is returning the label back to the PG. So again, I guess one of the participants said, what is label? Label is nothing but an extension of phone numbers or sequence of number. It just, you can call label is equal to DN. But they just keep it two separate because the way the UCCE was actually implemented at the beginning. You can call label is equal to the extension or numbers or sequence number or whatever that you would like to identify. But right now, UCCE has to return bunch of numbers like 49999 with the correlation ID, which is in form of label. Goes to PG, PG send a calls to CVP or to the call manager, depending on where the call came from. So let's take a look at the situation. The call came from call manager. And when it does come back to call manager is going to say, okay, what is 4999? Well, 4999 is actually a label. All right. And if you look at it, there's a little exclamation mark. Can you guys see that? That exclamation mark basically represents the correlation ID. Okay? Because 4999 followed by the 2-digit, 1-digit, 3-digit, whatever the length of your correlation ID is. Yes, this, by the way, this video is being recorded and you will receive an email automatically at the end of the sessions, maybe a couple hours later. All right. So now this call goes to the CVP trunk. Just a simple trunk, nothing fancy about that. And the call goes to CVP. So let me go and log into my our CVP server. CVP. So this is my CVP right there. So we're going to assume now the call is coming into CVP. So what's going to happen is I'm going to log into the web operation console. Whenever you're supposed to be live, disable all. I should have disabled all my social media stuff. All right. So this is your CVP portal, and the call will come into the CVP. So there's a question: where can you define your correlation ID? It is done on the system information in your UCCE under configuration manager. So the call will come in here, and what we're going to do in our call server, you'll see that there is a SIP tab, and I have a static route. Okay, I have a static route saying 4999 with greater than symbol. Well, greater than symbol is basically wildcard. So what I'm saying that when you're telling CVP that, hey, if you see a traffic or if you see a call with the extension number 49999 followed by any digit, send that calls to VVB, Visual Voice Browser, or VXML Gateway, which is some, this is my VXML Gateway. So right now, UCCE is step number 6, returning the label to PG. PG sends the call to CVP. CVP is matching the static route, sending that call to the VVB. And VVP is going to receive that call and match an application because 4999 happened to be a trigger, which is right away, hello world. No, not this one. the last one. So I have an application with the trigger called 4999 star. Again, the star bracket exclamation mark. I don't know why Cisco couldn't come up with a one uniform digit. And I guess that's because Cisco keep purchasing this product from different company. CVP was actually a company called Audium, which is Cisco purchased that back in the days. And so their syntax are a little bit different in some cases. So when it comes into this particular VVB server, it's going to execute this script called CVP comprehensive. I'm not going to go details about the VVP configuration, but it's going to execute that script. That's when a session will be established between the VXML gateway or between the caller and the VVB server via the CVP. And you get to hear all sorts of stuff after that. So right now, what you have done, you have established a connection to CVP and the VVB. Next step, UCCE, it will be sent, CVP will send instruction back to UCCE saying, hey, what do I do next? Okay, so we're going to go back to our slide. So step number 6, the call will come back. Step number 7, come back to CVP with the label 4999. CVP sends that label 4999 to SIP proxy. SIP proxy will send the calls to VXML server. Now, VXML gateway rather. This slide is slightly old because before we used to use a Cisco router as a VXML gateway. Today we use VVB server, our virtualized voice browser. So, but at the end of the day, functionality is the same. So let's just pretend that that is a VVB server. The VVB server will then, instruction will be sent to media, connectivity to the media server will be established. Step number 10, instruction goes back to CVP saying, what do I do next? CVP again, go back to ICM via the PG, say, what do I do next? That's when you're going to hear, where am I? Right here. Yep. I'm just going to go back to my script. Okay, so at this stage, I have done the send to VRU. Next, I'm going to say welcome. Now, UCC is going to send the CVP instruction. Okay, good, you're connected. Now go and play the welcome prompt or a message saying all of our agents are busy. Stay on the line, your call will be answered, whatnot, whatever the message that you want to relay. So now ICM is sending instruction to the CVP, telling CVP what to do. Remember, in this case, ICM is control of the call. So ICM is still holding the call, but telling the CVP what to do with the call. So now ICM is telling CVP, hey, go play the welcome prompt. CVP is going to send instruction to the VVB and say, please fetch this file called http:/IP address of your media server and the web file. VVB is going to contact the media server, fetch the file, and then announce it to the caller. So that's the the call flow between those two servers. So that will go back and forth, back and forth. So this is where a lot of people get confused. Why there's so many times the calls going back and forth between the system? Because there's so many instructions happening. You know, play this, play that, do this, do that, before you even connect the call to an agent. So until the call actually gets connected to the agent, the call will bounce back between the CVP and VVB and the UCCE until it meets the requirement. I mean, call treatment is done. Okay, so now assume this whole thing is happening at this session. At this time, it's going to go back and forth until an agent becomes available. So you hear the music, you hear the announcement, you hear waiting period, everything that is happening within that session. Now, next step is an agent does suddenly become available. And I came back from my break, I went to ready mode. So now my call manager, where I'm registered to, tells the UCCE that, hey, Faisal is now available through the JTAPI. So what the UCCE is going to do is going to return my extension and an instruction to the CVP saying, hey, stop the music and transfer the call to this extension 3001. So step number 14, an instruction coming to CVP to transfer that call to Faisal, extension 3001. So now CVP is going to send instruction to the VVB saying, stop the music, and we're going to transfer the call to this extension. So that configuration is done right here. So CVP now knows my extension, the agent extension 3001. You'll notice I have a static route right there. 3. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. The static route 3 says any call starting with 3, which is the range of extension of the agent, send the calls to the IP address of the call manager. This is where the CVP must have a trunk to the call manager. So the question is how the VXML server communicate with the media server. It is because of that address right here. Where am I? Media server address that you put in. That's an instruction. So basically, CVP will send an instruction to VVB saying, go fetch the file from HTTP 142.16.64.52 en us /app/ welcome.web. And then VVB is just going to make a call to that. The XML server will make a call to that. So that's the IP address of your media server. I said, can you please advise what each IP address is so that when we watch it again, it makes sense. I'll try my best. I'm going to give you a rundown later. Let me just finish this call flow so that otherwise I'll lose the track. I'm in a momentum right now. So welcome.web is an external script. That is correct. It is a run external script. Basically, it's called play media scripts. So now the call comes in back to the CVP. CVP is sending an instruction to terminate the music and transfer the call. So at this stage, CVP is now transferring, okay? Not UCCE. So UCCE basically tells the CVP what to do, but UCCE is not transferring the call. It is CVP who's transferring the call. So what the CVP has to know how to reach that extension of that agent. The CVP has to have a static route with a range of your extensions of all your agent, unless they're in the same range, pointing to the call manager where those agents are registered to. So that's how the call goes from there. CVP will send, in our case, the 3, instead of going to call manager, we're going to send it to the proxy. Proxy will have a static route, say any call with the 3, send it to the call manager. And the call manager is going to ring the agent phone, my phone. And when I answer the call manager is going to let the system unified PG, which is CUCM PG, letting the UCCE know that, hey, Faisal has just answered the call. Don't send him any more call until I notify you when he becomes available. That's what the call flow is taking place. So once you understand this, again, you're not going to be an expert on this seminar. Okay, we get that. You will have options to download this or repeat that 20 times, 30 times. Only then you will start to get things if you're just starting working on this field. Now, once you understand this call flow, you'll see that things will make sense right away. You know exactly why you're configuring certain things. You will know exactly where to go and troubleshoot when certain things doesn't work. I mean, it is all repetition, and the more you repeat, the better you're going to get at it. All right, so now that you saw the call flow, let's take a look at a little bit more high availability, another high-level call flow. Imagine a customer calls come in from the cube to your CVP server. So step 1, invite messages coming in, whatever the number you dial, toll-free number, 7 digits, 4 digits, doesn't matter. That call will hit the call server, SIP service. SIP service sends the call to ICM. ICM send a route request to the UCCE, to the router. Router will match the DN, and whatever the script it is mapped to, it's going to execute that script. Now, somewhere in the script is going to say send to VRU. The moment you see the word send to VRU, UCCE is trying to contact the CVP or IPIVR, which is in UCCX. Now, what the router is going to do, the router is going to look at network VRU configuration. Remember the network VRU I just showed you? It's going to look at the network VRU configuration. It's going to pick up the label. Now, here is the key part to understand. Let's go back to my configuration. You will see that in my network VRU, I got more than one label. 4999, 4999, 4999, 4999. Why not one? Why so many? This is the router. This is the router. When the call comes in, it comes with the router. The router process. The router process look at the network VRU and say, okay, hold on a second. I got a bunch of 4999. Which one do I select? That depends on where the call came from. Okay. So if the call came from call manager, it's going to select 4999 that is associated with call manager routing client. If the call came from CVP, it's going to choose 4999 with CVP as a routing client. So it doesn't have to be the same number. You could choose 5999 for call manager and 4999 for CVP. That's perfectly fine. Okay, as long as you understand what is happening here. So if the call came from the call manager, UCC is going to choose the call manager label. If it came from CVP, it's going to choose the CVP label. So that's why you have minimum of 2 or 1, depending on. Now, in most cases, you will have 1. And the reason behind that is Cisco's best practice is to send all calls to UCCE via the CVP. Never send calls directly from the call manager to the CUCM, to the UCCE. So that is a recommendation, but you can, of course, go do it both ways. Now the router or the logger is going to send a request back to the CVP 4999. CVP has a static route 4999 pointing to the VVB or voice XML gateway. The call goes to your voice XML gateway, and if you have the older voice XML gateway, what is going to happen is going to map a dial pair matching that number 4999 as an incoming call number. And that will execute a script called Bootstrap. Again, I don't want to go into details of a routing configuration, but that's one of the configurations that you have on the router. It's going to execute that script, and it's going to establish a contact communication with the VXML server. Now the call, an HTTP request will go back to CVP. CVP will then have established what we call the VRU or VRU connection with the UCCE. So at this stage, all the call treatment is going to happen. Welcome message, press this, get digit, process it, database dipping, whatever that you want to do. All sorts of IVR treatment is taking place. Now, the moment agent becomes available, it will then, UCCE is going to send an instruction to CVP, say, hey, here's the extension 2001. Please forward the call because he is the agent. CVP is going to send instruction to VVP to stop the music and then send the calls using the static route, send the calls to call manager to transfer it. Call manager will do a blind transfer to the agent. Okay. Now that moment when the call is being transferred, what happened to the caller? See, if I was a caller, I'm going to call in, I'm going to hear the music, right? You know, rock and roll or whatever, Hindi music, whatever you are playing, you're listening to music. But now the call is being connected. Suddenly I don't hear any music. I hear a ringback. Well, how can you have a ringback when the call was already established? Remember that my call was already answered by a system. The RTP was already established. So how am I hearing a ringback again? What had happened is when the CVP is about to transfer a call to an agent, CVP will generate a false ring. This is called false ring. And actually it's through the VVB, not CVP. Let me show you the configuration for that. So this is my VVB. And in VVB, there will be a couple of applications. So first of all, in CVP, this is my CVP. You'll see there's 2 numbers right here. 91919191 and 92929292. When CVP is about to transfer the call to an agent, what the CVP is going to do is send a signal to the VVB for 919191. So VVB is going to execute this script called ringtone, which is mapped to 919191 and a script name called ringtone. And what it does, it generates a false ring, letting the customer know, let the customer feel they're being connected to an agent. It's all about user experience. That's all. You don't really need that ringtone. But to make sure the customer don't get confused, say, hey, what's happening to my call? Is it dead? Did I just got disconnected? No, you basically transition from music or audio, music on hold or whatever the announcement to an agent. During that gap, you're hearing this ringback. That is called a ringtone. Now, what if CVP is not able to reach that agent because number may be misconfigured, agent may not, the phone number may not suddenly got disconnected? Well, CVP, what it's going to do is going to send a signal on 929292 when it faces a problem. Either the problem could be call processing problem or call problem could be system related problem. Now, I don't know which one is what, I can't remember right now. But if it is a call processing problem, the error message will be played is female voice or male voice. Whereas if it is a system related problem, it will be the opposite. I just can't remember right now. If anybody do remember, please do let me know. But you got two type of error message. You got a critical error and you got, I guess, system error or something like that. So either one will be male and one will be female voice. So if you play with the system enough, and you know it's a female voice, you will automatically know what the problem could be or where to look at. Or if it's a male voice, you will know where to look at because those are played in a different scenario. So what the CVP is going to send a signal 9292 to the VVB, and the VVB is going to play this script called error. And those two scripts are automatically part of your VVB. Now, if you have an older VXML gateway, those will be similar to dial peers, okay, configuration. All right, so that's basically how the communication works between the moment the customer calls in to your to the UCCE, to the CVP, to the VVB. Now, as far as a quick review on that, distribution, the call comes in. So this is my general script. You guys are already familiar with this script. Is actually a script that Cisco provide instruction for that since the day UCCE came out. When a call starts, it will set a variable called media server variable, and this media server variable is actually the IP address of your audio. Now, here's the thing. This is that media server happens to be a web server, Apache, or it could be IIS. Cisco is trying to moving away from that. Cisco is saying if you are a small to mid-sized company, you could use the VVB as your media server. You can upload the VVB, sorry, you can upload your prompt to the VVB. So if you look at the VVB, you'll see that they have a prompt management. So you can upload all the prompts into the VVB as well. So I have all my prompts right here under US English app folder, or you could use CVP as a media server, okay, because CVP is a web server. So in either cases, if you're going to use VVB, then this URL is going to be flash. But if you're going to use the external media server, then that URL is going to be the IP address of your media server. It is very similar, same interface as your UCCX. Then you set some variable called English, locale, what language. You want to set your folder where your stuff is located. Again, I won't go into scripting part. Then finally, send to VRU, which is to establish a connection with the UCCE platform, CVP and VRU VVB platform. So once you understand that and repeat that 20, 30, 40, as many times you want, and this will become a piece of cake. And I believe, like I say, I've been doing voice for the last 15 plus years. I've been teaching voice worldwide, and I have found that UCCE is, though it looks very difficult, but it is probably the most easiest one to configure, even easier than CCI, but it's tougher than CCI to understand because there's so many components you have to understand the back and flow. And once you get the flow, it is very easy. So that's pretty much it. All I had to show you for. Hopefully you got a little bit glimpse of what the call flow looks like. And like I say, the video will be available to you in about a couple of maybe hours. You will receive an email from WebEx with the link. If you do not receive it, please do visit our website and send us a submit request. We will try to get you that access to that video. In the meantime, if you guys like the video, I appreciate if you could leave a comment on our website. There's a little review on the bottom, right bottom. I appreciate your few input. I will be hosting some video in next 10 to 15 days, which is on CVP scripting, Call Studio. I am working on the new version of UCCE scripting, as well as I know I've been a little bit delayed in releasing some of the scripting video. I apologize for some of you guys for waiting, but I will make up to you guys. We do have a scripting video coming from UCCE and Call Studio that I'm working on. Once it's available, I will do some more webinars on that. In about 10 to 15 days, we're going to do calls, CVP video, Call Studio video of how to use CVP to, let's say, API calls. This is something up. You will get notified because now that you signed up, I got your email. I know. Once in a while, you might receive one email a month from me. I don't send too many emails though. Okay, probably one email a month or maximum 2 emails a month. So keep an eye on that. Also, I think I posted on the Facebook groups on the UCCX and UCC group. I will post it there as well. Also, take a look at our website. We do have a webinar listed on our website too. Sign up. It's free to use. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me show you where to go and leave that message for me. Like I said, your feedback will help me keep motivated to do this stuff on a regular basis. If I do, demotivated, that I'm gonna feel like working. So there is a little trust pilot and a review on us. Feel free to submit, a review. I appreciate that. Otherwise, thank you for joining this webinar. If you guys, I'll take a couple of questions from you guys. Feel free to contact me either through the chat, or you can also email me at fcon@voicebootcamp.com. All right, fire up. For those who are leaving, have a good weekend. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Amin. I know you are one of my client. So, I hope you're enjoying the video. All right, so like I said, feel free to Jishan. Hey, Jishan, how are you? Long time. I am in town. Yes, I am in office until March 10th. At that moment, I'll be heading to Phoenix. No problem, sir. See you tomorrow then. Thank you very much. We're on our website. Go to www. You'll see on the most of the pages on the UCCE related pages. You will see the webinar information there. So just keep browsing through our UCCE page. Yeah, and leave us. Please do leave us. Leave us some feedback. Your feedback will motivate me to do more free training like this. Cheers to you guys. Thank you very much. All right, we had a pretty good audience. 100 people today. Not bad. Great. Also, visit our website. You should be able to download some of our videos, interview questions. Email me, fkhan@voicebootcamp. Abhishek, I will email you that all those 100 UCC interview questions. They're basically all over UC collaborations. Okay, Pawan. Thank you, Abhishek. Definitely send me the information, Vital. I will email you the questions. Yeah, there is not a huge much of a difference on 12.11.6, 12.5, but I will try to in the maybe on one of the video I will try to cover up feature differences and some of the integrations options available. So yeah, keep an eye on our website or in an email from me. Then you'll be invited onto those. Appreciate that again, Abhishek, for your nicely comment. All right, so if there's no other questions, I will sign out. Thank you. It is Friday. I've been working for the last 2 months nonstop. So I'm going to take a good nap right now because I taught a UCC class whole night yesterday with a client in Afghanistan. So barely awake right now with a couple of Red Bulls, as you can see right here. White Bulls, or whatever you want to call it. I will work on a video for the differences on 11 to 12, and I will invite you guys when I have something similar to it available. I know a lot of kind of mine have been asking for that, so I will try to make a video for you guys on that. Sure, I will share you the slide as well as some the video. So give me about a couple of hours, maybe a day or two. You will receive an email from me, a thank you email along with the slides that I've used for this particular session. Thank you, Venkat. Yes, Anil, I will send you that information. Thank you, Prabhat. Hopefully you enjoyed it. All right, have a good day, guys.